So periodically, ever since Pokemon Sword and Shield were released, I've made videos talking about what's next for Pokemon. Where do they go from here? It is kind of premature in a way, but as a huge fan of the series that follows all of the major announcements and reveals and whatnot, being in between major releases is going to make you speculate a bit, especially when you don't know what that next big game is going to be. I believe I've lightly touched on it once or twice, but one thing that's really been on my mind lately that I've been wondering just exactly how Game Freak is going to go about it is the release schedule of main series Pokemon games over the next several years. And the reason why this crosses my mind is because there is a lot on the immediate plate for main series Pokemon games in terms of possible upcoming releases. In my time thinking about this though, an idea occurred to me that is simply too good not to happen, and it's something that if Game Freak has any interest at all in optimizing the Pokemon series, they absolutely need to do, and they have the perfect opportunity to put this plan in place right now. Anyway though, as we are just barely into a brand new generation and we've just seen the release of the first game in Generation 8, this is essentially what we have to look forward to over the next few years with that release schedule I mentioned earlier. There's the enhanced version of Sword and Shield, which has already been announced as the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra expansions that are coming later this year, and with 2020 covered, that basically gives us 2 more years in this generation before Gen 9 comes around, as typically Pokemon generations tend to last 3 years. Well, it just so happens that we very possibly already have 2 games lined up to occupy those years. Now, it's obviously not required that Game Freak put out a main series Pokemon game every year, but now that we are essentially on the 5th year in a row this year with a major release happening, dating all the way back to 2016 with Sun and Moon, and it most assuredly happening next year as well, given that 2021 is the 25th anniversary of the series, I think it's more than reasonable to expect that this is just the new normal for Pokemon, and that yearly releases, at least for the next year or two, are going to continue to happen. Now, whether or not that is a good thing is another discussion. I personally say as long as the games are good and fresh and exciting, then the more Pokemon the better, but back to what the releases of these next 2 years could be, I think it's pretty simple. Diamond and Pearl remakes and Let's Go Johto. It's obvious that Diamond and Pearl remakes are going to happen at some point. The Pokemon Company themselves have even teased the community about it from time to time, and there's just an overwhelming sense that it is going to happen, and it's going to happen fairly soon. Probably, in my opinion, next year, as 2021 is the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, as I previously stated, but it's also the 15th anniversary of Diamond and Pearl, originally releasing in 2006. Meanwhile though, we also have all of the reason in the world for another game, and that's Let's Go Johto. The original Let's Go game sold phenomenally well, selling as of the recording of this video 11.76 million copies, and occupying the 6th spot on the Switch's best-selling games list. Add that to the fact that Junichi Masuda said himself that more Let's Go would be possible if the fans wanted it, and you've got yourself another Let's Go game that's practically guaranteed. I mean, you don't just put out a game that sells 12 million copies and say, nah, I think we'll just stick with that one. I don't really like money that much anyway. So in a nutshell, we've got 2 titles that seem like they are bound to happen and bound to happen soon. There's just one problem with that though, both of these games are remakes. With Let's Go essentially being its own sub-series but also being remakes of older main series games at the same time, how can that coexist with the traditional remakes that we've seen to this point, especially with one of those seemingly right around the corner? Is there just too much going on here for everything to happen peacefully without stepping on each other's toes? Well, the answer to that, my friends, is no. While it might seem on the surface that more Let's Go games being thrown into the equation just kinda mucks things up and they just wouldn't fit into the grand scheme of things for Pokemon, they provide Game Freak with an opportunity that not only optimizes the series, but could make it better than it's ever been, and that's where this perfect plan comes into play that I've been talking about. Starting today, Game Freak needs to split the main series Pokemon games right down the middle and have two separate styles of games that they regularly put out. For the sake of this video, I will be referring to them as the Classic Series and the Modern Series. But think about it, two different styles of remakes, the regular ones and the Let's Go ones, just doesn't seem to work if we continue the way things are now. It's like two puzzle pieces that almost look like they fit together, but not quite. However, if Game Freak were to establish a classic and modern side to the series, it literally solves all of these problems and, if executed correctly, could even take the series to new heights. And this is because right now, Pokémon is evolving. We just had our very first main series game on a home console, we've gotten our first taste of what open world Pokemon could be like, with that only promising to expand even further, so Pokemon is about to hit the big time from a technological standpoint, and the possibilities of what the series can do in that respect have basically grown infinitely. Now, I'm sure all of that sounds fantastic to all of you, but this evolution is a lot easier said than done, and that's because there's a major roadblock in its way, and that's actually Pokemon itself. The series has such an iconic system of going from town to town, collecting gym badges, battling trainers in turn-based combat, and so on, and due to the popularity of the series itself, you can't exactly just abandon all of that, even if an open-world future where we're all climbing over mountains on the backs of our Pokemon seems ever so enticing. I'm sure Game Freak knows this, as do many fans, but this is where the Let's Go games come in to save the day. Not only are they fun remakes on their own with a pleasant and unique style to them, but one of their defining features is that they were very basic. When they said they were remaking a Gen 1 game, they meant it, as only features and mechanics that were in Gen 1, save maybe Pokemon following you and all of the Pokemon Go integration, were included. No breeding, no natures, none of that overly complicated fancy stuff, and it's this approach that makes the Let's Go games the perfect candidate to act as a preserver, if you will, of classic style Pokemon. While the mainline modern games continue to grow and evolve and can now do literally whatever they want because the Let's Go games are holding down the fort with the classic gameplay, so that doesn't feel abandoned. Two of Nintendo's biggest series, Mario and Zelda, are even already doing this themselves, and have been for years. When the Mario Sunshines and Mario Galaxies of the world began to come around, Nintendo implemented the new Super Mario Bros. Series of games that essentially acted as classic 2D Mario. So everything that fans had fallen in love with the franchise would still be there, which allowed them to make those bigger 3D sandbox titles. And as Zelda began to explore 3D itself, and even now open world with Breath of the Wild, it also has its dedicated 2D series of games that preserve that classic top-down perspective that everyone loves. And as the third member of Nintendo's Big Three, I think it's time for Pokémon to do the same. Make more Let's Go games remaking older titles, or maybe even providing new adventures with that linear, turn-based, iconic experience we all know and love. Meanwhile, the main series, with classic Pokemon now taken care of, can be completely free to expand and grow as much as it wants, and with the traditional remakes as a part of that group, that gives us the chance to have a completely open-world Sinnoh, for instance. And honestly, who wouldn't want that? People always dream of that utopian Pokemon game, if you will, where it's completely open world, wide open, the graphics look like Breath of the Wild, you can ride on your Pokemon everywhere you go, and the world is essentially your oyster. That is the goal that Pokemon fans have been dreaming about for years, and the way I see it, splitting the series up into classic and modern games streamlines our path to making that a reality, and takes absolutely every shackle off of the series that was slowing it down, all while still preserving what the series is known for in its own set of titles, that really just give us even more Pokemon games to enjoy. So regardless of whether or not you personally enjoy the Let's Go games, I think it's in everyone's best interest to hope for more of those titles, because if used correctly, it would absolutely blow the lid off the whole franchise with this system, and bring it to new heights that we've only ever been able to dream about to this point. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like as it really helps out, and let me know in the comments what you think about this idea. If you're new to the channel as well, be sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content all the time, and if you'd like to support the channel further, you can listen to my Pokemon remixes on Spotify, or watch my Pokemon Cardinal project if you haven't, which are both massively appreciated. With that being said though, I'll be back on Saturday with another video, so hit that notification bell so you can know as soon as it goes live, and until then, I love you guys so very much, and I will smell you guys later.